Hello, this is Brian Resney, President of Resney Wealth Management, bringing you a report and update about the economy and the investment markets. Generally speaking, most of the overall equity markets are close to an all-time high, just about 1.5%, 2% from that all-time high. If we look at the earnings of corporations in the U.S., they're doing quite well. I will say that most countries outside the U.S. are not doing well, and we continue to avoid those. But I will say that the vast majority of new clients that we continue to get this year that are coming from the brokerage houses, the banks, and the insurance companies still own a lot of European equities, and they're not doing well. So of course, not good for those clients in the past, but good as they come over to Resney Wealth Management, as we feel we're going to position them properly and stay away from areas of distress, recession, and of course, slow or no growth. We like what we see in the U.S. economy. There's all kinds of media talk, though, about recession and the inverted yield curve. Folks, just because we have an inverted yield curve, meaning short-term rates are higher than long-term rates, does not guarantee a recession. And by the way, we're no longer in an inverted yield curve. Short-term rates are actually now lower than long-term rates. It only lasted about 30 days. Normally, an inverted yield curve could be a potential warning sign with other factors line up that we could be in a slowdown or a potential recession. We don't see a recession. Now, we may change our opinion on that 6 months, 6 years, or somewhere in between when the data comes in and it shows actual signs of recession. Remember, we're doing daily research on not only the economy, but the investments we own. We believe in looking at that top-down approach. How is the economy where you're invested actually doing? Our economy in the U.S. is doing quite well, especially compared to almost anywhere else in the world. And I'm going to, again, our current president, I'm going to give him a pat on the back for good policy. Taxation, deregulation, energy independence. These are all net positives. Hey, by the way, I don't know if you noticed about the drone attacks over in Saudi Arabia, but it knocked out a chunk of oil. Again, one of the issues that this president addressed was energy independence in the U.S. We are energy independent. We are the biggest producer of oil and natural gas in the world. Nobody would have believed that 40, 50 years ago if you listened to our past politicians. Both Democrats and Republicans did not do the job. This current president has made us energy independent. What does that mean? Simple. When you have these geopolitical events like in Saudi Arabia, it does not impact our oil supply. Because remember, we're shipping oil and natural gas. It doesn't impact our prices, at least at any great deal. And over time, we will have less and less influence on price with what happens overseas. And ultimately, for the U.S., by us shipping oil and natural gas out, that helps our economy that much more. Quality jobs, revenues coming into the U.S., and again, energy independence and geopolitical events can be on the wayside, which is a net positive for every American in this country. Remember when you used to pay $4 or $5 a gallon for gas? Now you're down to $2.25, $2.50. Again, thank your current president for deregulation and energy independence. These are all net positives. There's been a lot of talk about global warming, which I'm not a big believer in, by the way. I've read a lot of research on this. Just some facts. The U.S. is actually the cleanest by multiple times of any other developed nation in the world. The problem is undeveloped nations are spewing out lots of toxic material. They need to address their issues. The U.S. cannot force them to, but the U.S. has actually done an incredible job cleaning up our act already. So again, these are all positives, not only for the U.S., but ultimately for the world, even if you believe in global warming and climate change, which I truly do not. And again, that's from a lot of hardcore facts, a lot of research. You can believe it, not believe it, that's totally up to you, but I'd say read a lot of the research on it, and there's a lot of conflicting variables that come out with global warming. We are well positioned, in my opinion, for this last quarter coming up of 2019. We've got a couple little adjustments we are looking to make shortly, so watch your account statements for that. If you have any questions about your portfolio, about your retirement, maybe you've got some referrals for Resney Wealth Management. We always appreciate your business and referrals. Make sure you give us a call if you have any questions and have yourself a safe and prosperous day.